Good morning. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello. You hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Great. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Great. Great. Thank you for your patience. I was just kind of finishing a couple things with work. Sorry we didn't meet up yesterday, huh? You had a power outage there.
I'm living outside of the city, so sometimes it's a quite new area. There are a lot of new buildings, new construction processes. Sometimes it happens like
Yeah.
this.
I could imagine. So where are you living now? Can you tell us about the town?
It's St. Petersburg, Russia, but it's like around 10 kilometers away from St. Petersburg. It's quite new area. So in good ecology, so I decided to move
Kind
here.
away from the kind of the inner city. Is it more of a rural area of St. Petersburg or?
Yeah, it's just very, very busy area, very busy. So river helps to keep ecology actually in a good shape. But in any way, there are too many people there, and I prefer now to work somewhere closer to nature. Here I have my swimming pool, I have all necessary. And all my technique, all my computers, everything is here. So
Yeah, and you're
uh,
still close to everything though when you have to go to work, right?
yeah.
So yeah, I'm the same. I'm in a town called Fallbrook. It's a rural town, and I'm finding a lot of us we are involved in technology and different kinds of work, but we like to stay in rural areas, so we could
Mhm,
unplug. And that's the same
mhm.
thing here. I live in a rural area. It's beautiful here. So, but I'm close to San Diego, which is the big city here, in Southern California. So
So we are talking to you just talking because I do not see here any video. Do you see me or not?
yeah, I see you.
But I do not see you.
Okay, let me see here.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either. I could see you perfectly. You have a gray blazer on and your glasses and a
Now I see. Now I see you. Okay,
okay.
it's switched on. Great.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start the podcast and tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into your work. What I'd like to know is growing up in Russia and before you got into your path now. Tell us a little bit about that life.
My past life, it was so long ago. I'm so deeply engaged in what I'm doing, starting from UFO research professionally. And actually, that was the moment when my life was completely changed. Just because that UFO expeditions, let's say like this, which I had, and I had a lot of them, because I myself prefer not just to talk, not just to analyze materials laying on my table. I prefer to see everything by my own eyes. That's why even investigating pyramids and actually investigating UFO, I preferred scientific approach. So and that was the moment when
So
once.
when was this moment that like how old were you? What happened that when you
Oh,
started getting into it?
actually, I'm today. I'm almost. Let's say I'm 65, and my life was changed on 1989, completely, fully, and I devoted myself to to investigation of extraterrestrials, the interests, and then I was very, and actually I am interested in everything connected with paleoscience and paleotechnology, actually. Prehistory of our civilization, a real one, what actually happened with our civilization, what moved us to the position and situation where now. I'm very interested in ancient texts. I'm very interested especially in Gnostic text. I'm interested in religion, but I'm interested in what stands behind Christianity, what stands behind Islam, because all that is closely connected with that very remote period in our life. I mean, Earth life, life of our civilization, when we knew much more than we knew now, when we knew about consciously controlled reincarnation, when we built the pyramids as instrument for space communications, when we have been very active, small but active part of cosmic community. So I'm interested in all this.
Sure. And looking to the past, you looked at the ancient Egyptian text, and of course, with the pyramids, dealing with your work now, the wands of Horus. So you found in these ancient texts an ancient way of living, an ancient way of building that can help with our health and also with reincarnation. So that's been really the probably the core of your work. Would you say that's correct?
On one hand, yes. On one hand, yes, because when you take the ancient texts in the hands, you somehow get into resonance, into the same type of vibration which our predecessors experienced when they were receiving information from that extraterrestrials whom they called the gods. But for me, interesting is not only what our predecessors saw, how they understood it. For me, it's interesting to find the possibility to look into the head of that extraterrestrial who was trying to explain to my predecessor about the wands of Horus, about the pyramids, how actually universe is constructed, how human being is constructed. This is the most interesting aspect of my investigation.
And what led you to the truth that you would say on your path that, they weren't talking about gods. These weren't just pharaohs that were, putting themselves on pyramids, on hieroglyphs and so forth, but these were in fact extraterrestrials?
First of all, to come to closer understanding what happened thousands of years ago, not so long ago, because for me, thousands of years, it's like not so long period. But anyway, first of all, we need to make a very important conclusion that those extraterrestrials who influenced our civilization and gave that very important piece of knowledge were not from far situated star system. No, they have been from solar system. And this is the reason why, having the same type of genetics as we have, they could give us technology which they developed for thousands of years of their development. And we could use this technology without any adaptation. This is critically important because many other technologies, received from far situated solar systems, they wouldn't be so easily adopted by us or can be used by us because those who are living there, they're a little bit different. And this is the moment, and very important for me because, first of all, and what I told you, that was civilization actually from Mars and Maldek. And they were very highly developed, so high that even today we cannot imagine in our best dreams. So, as long as we have the same type of genetics and we have the keys, we have ancient texts, I understood we can try to filter out all this important information, and we can try to use it for our daily life, for our health. My personal interest is for sure concentrated on kids, because I like kids. I love them very much. I have kids, and I know that our future will be changed for better, not by us, by kids. And I'm interested to give them different type of knowledge. Today, I know what we can do to let them grow into other type of understanding and other type of energy. Our kids can have quite different energetical capacities. They will be much more developed than we are today. And it can happen just in 10 years, for example. So this is my interest.
Sure. Do you believe that, living in a big city, here near San Diego, where I'm at, and I know you in St. Petersburg, to me, it's actually the opposite of what I'm finding. It's hard raising children. We actually homeschool here. They don't go to a regular public school, and we try to teach them about nature and kind of an alternative education. How can we raise our kids in environments like this, or are we going to have to build alternative civilizations, alternative cities?
First of all, I would say important is the quality of energy. That's important. And even with my kids, I noticed years ago that when we are teaching them, for example, we give them a certain piece of knowledge, but they cannot remember it forever. It means we need to remind them more and more times one and the same thing, that they could, first of all, remember, and then they could understand, could feel what stands behind. And later, working with the pyramids, and you know probably that we have built already the whole complex of pyramids, using all that technologies with, special energetical sources, according to a golden section, according to the all proper rules. We have noticed that if you are giving any information to your kid inside this high dense energy, you know what I mean? When the energy, for example, in your room is very, very strong, kids remember this piece of information immediately and forever. And what is important? They can see and they can read between the lines. They understand what you meant. They sometimes even can see your visions, what you had before your eyes, trying to explain one or another aspect of the knowledge to your kids. This is very important, and we have another interesting example when this type of approach we have been using for the girl, which was 8 years old. Can you imagine? Just 8 years old, very naughty, nothing special. We used this technology. In 2 years, that girl already played with almost all orchestras in Europe, but before he never played anything. So for 2 years, in a specially organized energetically building, she could develop actually unusual, profound musical abilities.
It's interesting, the ancients, they had talked about children. I know children were big in soothsaying and prophesizing, and they were used to, talk to the gods. You would sometimes hear in the Greek writings and the different, the Delphic writings as well. They'd used young women to do that, to, do the prophesizing. So it's interesting that, I know children, they seem to be in touch. Are you saying that they're pretty much clairvoyant, or they have this special talent to a certain age? Or why are children more in touch than us adults?
Well, we can divide. I would divide this answer into two parts. First of all, the actual situation in our civilization, that this period of our life, we have noticed that many kids are coming to our planet, and they have very unusual capacities, very unusual. But this is one aspect. We will keep it just here. I would like to explain something what is, on my opinion, much more important. Ancient knew, and I have found this piece of information, that a very decisive role plays the moment when you are going to conceive a child. This is a critically important moment. And for any lady, there are only maximum 5 days, or sometimes 1 day into a year, when she can conceive a child, and this child will have absolutely amazing capacities. It will be strong, spiritual, clairvoyant, very healthy, like half God child. And this is one of the projects which I started to develop. I started to do it just recently, and I called this project Cosmic Baby, just simply Cosmic Baby. And even in internet, you can find this web page, which is called cosmicbaby.ru. And what is the idea? Now you can download their special program. It's easy, special program, because calculation by itself is very complicated, but with the help of computer, it can be done easily. So
as far as picking out those 5 days.
It means you just download this program. You can download it on your smartphone and then put in your birth dates, click, and you have these dates.
Okay, so those 5 dates will be different for different people based on the parents' birth dates.
It depends, first of all, on ladies. It depends on her women's cycle. It depends on your, for example, man birth date, her birth date. It depends on moon cycle, sun cycle. It depends on all cycles, because within 1 year, there are very energetical periods, just few days, and you should conceive your child exactly within this very short period. Then everything will happen well. If you know nothing about it, actually people know nothing about it, and they conceive child, well, as it happens. And this is the reason why very often we have kids which are not making us happy. Sometimes they are ill, sometimes they have mental problems. So everything is connected with this very important ancient knowledge.
So this was ancient knowledge that you had. Did you help develop this program, the software, with the software engineer?
Yes. Yeah, we have developed, because first of all, we spent here a serious length of time just to find out and make this all necessary calculation. And then my son, he's just a specialist, IT specialist, and he created this program. And you can download this program actually in internet.
Interesting. Yeah. That how many people have went through this program? Can you say? Do you have actual people that conceive babies? How old are they?
First of all, what I did it together with my wife, and now I have got the girl. Her name is Ariana. She's 9 years old, and I tell you, she makes me very happy, because she did already so much wonderful things. She speaks English much better than me, fluent English, beautiful pronunciation. He never learned. She just does it, and that's it. She started to learn French, and she said, "I would like to learn Chinese." Yes, also Chinese. So anything she's doing great, really great. Like she's already champion. She's how to say it properly. He's got the first place in championship with the dancing.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So I tell you, I see how it works. I see, but the whole project now is still developing. It's still because first of all, what I need to do, I need to inform people of our planet that this program actually exists, and people can start it. Everything is understandable and clear here. Idea is simple because we know about solstices and the other very important energetical moment in the life of our planet and a human being. So, child should be conceived exactly within this period, and then everything will be okay.
Yeah. So this is all based on astrology.
No.
No. Okay.
No. It has nothing to astrology. It's a pure, let's say, it's a pure calculation. It's science. I call it science. One thing we should keep in mind, for example, that within 1 year, we have periods of any human being. We have period of high energetical state and low energetical state. Highest energetical state, we have 12 days around our birth date. We need to keep it in mind. So, if you want to conceive your child, you need to conceive it when you have within these 12 days around your birth date. 6 days before, 6 days after, this is the period. For sure. And again, I'd like to point out the most important birth date is the mother important, not the father, mother. And the other cosmic and earth energetical cycle. This is what we should take into account first of all.
That interests me a lot when you say the mother, because I know a lot of the ancient cultures you had, the mother was very important, the earth mother, and it was always associated with the earth.
Yes.
So can you explain, is the mother, is she representative of the earth and the male possibly of an alien entity? Is that what I'm getting here? And that's kind of the stories we hear in the Bible.
Well, first
as far
of all,
as the sons of God, which would be the sons of aliens. I don't know. Again, in this story of yours, and then the women would be the daughters of men, right? So they would be the daughters of the earth. I'm not.
As for the sons of God, in our humanity, if you take our civilization as the whole, it's like 100%. Approximately from 3 up to 7% of people, they still have this very unusual genetic received from sons of the gods, who actually lived on Mars and Moloch, not so far from Mars here. This is one aspect. But now let's talk about mother. I spent a serious time just trying to find out, learn what stands behind this idea. And I came to a very interesting conclusion that not far situated civilization, for example, or whatever, were the reason for humanity to appear. We have been not produced by some other extraterrestrial civilization. No. Important is that in our galaxy, in our universe, planet is creating human bodies. It's important, really important. And this is the reason why in all ancient culture, planet Earth is represented by the body of a woman. And this is the reason why ancient texts says that if people want to live healthy life, they need to synchronize the rhythms of their biological bodies with the energetical bodies of the planet Earth. And the principle is exactly the same as we see between the mother and the child. Because probably you know as a man that if a child is at home, mother is in office, and child is crying and feel bad, mother feels nervous. And opposite, if boss will treat mother very badly and mother will be in stress, child at home immediately starts to cry because there is no distance between mother and the child. They have a, this internal link. The same exactly with the human body, with the human being and the planet Earth. We are created actually by the planet Earth. On the other hand, for sure, I would add that in principle, it is like this, what I told you just a few seconds before. But planet Earth is actually special ones. And here we have few races, which also have their little bit special genetic. And people living here, some of them, they are, how to say, those who have been created by planet Earth here, for whom the planet Earth is the mother planet. And there are some other people whose body appeared not on the planet Earth from the beginning. So your body, for example, have been created on Mars.
How would you know that?
This comes from ancient texts. And those who is the native race on the planet Earth? Blacks, Negroes, Africans, they are natives. And this is the reason why they have a wonderful tooth, they are very good sportsmen, they play music, they have a very good bodies, you know what I mean.
Sure.
Just because this planet is native. For us, for people who lived on the planet Mars, actually your genetic is Martian. It means that if you want to improve energetical situation of your body, first of all, you need to synchronize your energetical body with the energy body of the Earth. It's one thing. But on the other thing, you need to use what we call today the golden ratio. This special type of geometrical, let's say, the special type of geometry. It's like a proportions.
Sure, phi.
Yeah, which helps to fine-tune our vibrations and come into the resonance with the vibration of the planet Mars. So this is the reason why our predecessors, they built pyramids, because they needed this instrument as a tool for this type of tuning. And in my book, I showed up that even some complexes, like complex in Teotihuacan, shows exactly that knowledge have been received from Mars. And all that geometry I have been working with in the last years showed that we have to use this type of tools just to tune our body in a certain type of vibration, especially after asteroid impact, which took place 13,671 years ago. Because that was the moment when our planet lost our orbit and we moved away from the sun. And previous calendar, if you remember, was 360 days. Now it's 365 days. But what is important, it changed, a little bit changed, a certain fundamental energetical processes. And this is the reason why, even in Bible, you can find this very important idea that our predecessors, they have been talking one language. What means one language for everybody? It means telepathic language. At least 50% sorry, of humanity, they have been using telepathic language. But when vibration, this very important aspect, energetical aspect of planet Earth, have been changed for one day, people lost this capacity. And from that day on, we have to build pyramids just to synchronize our bodies with the energetical bodies of the Earth and of the Mars. So we need to take into account all these very important aspects.
So what happened to this knowledge? Are you saying it's all there, buried in the ancient text, and
yes,
you've of course deciphered it to bring it to modern civilization today?
Yes, this is exactly what I want to say, and what actually I tried to say in my books. Knowledge is here. Yes, it's little bit, I wouldn't say transformed. It was recorded by different people and different ages, and people always tried to give a certain color connected with their understanding, with their religion, whatever. But if you, like me, if you spend many years just investigating this ancient text, somehow you come to understanding and you start to see what actually have been given to humanity from the beginning, from the point of view of pure science, what they have been talking about. And in my following book, the following new version of the Wands of Horus book, I'm going to give this very important chapter where I will explain exactly using the same terminology and, let's say, the same visions what have been given to our predecessors thousands of years ago by those who lived on Mars and Maldek. It's interesting, believe me. You will be happy because it's much more clear, much more understandable than just simply reading the ancient texts.
Sure, and I'm really interested in the pyramid technology when I read it, and I've always been interested in it. I've always known there was a reason why they had built those pyramids. They used, I know, of course, in Egypt we have limestone, and I know you're using concrete, which of course is a limestone derivative, which has its own alchemical properties, I believe. Maybe you can get into the science there, and I know some of your ex-colleagues or competitors are using wood, which I would see would be such an inferior product, which wouldn't be, as far as energy residence, wouldn't do much for anything. It would be kind of worthless, in my opinion. But again, I'm not a scientist, and you've been doing this longer. Can you explain a little bit about the limestone and the concrete and, the pyramid shape and how that plays in the science?
First of all, limestone as a natural stone have been used because of the quartz. Quartz plays a decisive and critical role in the mechanism of the pyramids. And quartz you will find on any planet in not only our galaxy, the whole universe. So quartz has very important capacities, which I will try to very shortly describe. First of all, crystal lattice. Crystal lattice, it's if you look at it, it looks like three-shaped pyramids, And this is exactly the same type of lattice which water has. What it means? It means if you want to synchronize your body, your energetical system, with the energetical system of the Earth, you need to use the same materials which the body of the planet contains. In the body, in the core of the planet Earth, there are 72% of quartz, at least 72, and a lot of water, a lot. So, if you build a pyramid using the quartz, first of all, you immediately create an instrument which will be working in a full synchronization with the planet Earth, because planet Earth has quartz and the pyramid has a quartz. Usually pyramids were trying to build close to the waters. If there was no water, our predecessor made artificial pools. It was always. So you see, main idea is just to find such minerals which has a structural similarities to let the pyramid and the planet Earth to come into the resonance. Then quartz has another very important capacities, which we called a piezoelectric effect. So if you go into the pyramid and you start to produce a sound by any ways, you can make it by voice or by any musical instruments, pyramid starts to vibrate and generate piezoelectric field. This field, the pyramid, immediately creates energetical beam, and this beam, like a laser beam, starts to read informational field immediately. It's a principle. It works like this. It worked, it works, and it will be working like this. Another important aspect which quartz has: if you send a mental impulse inside of the pyramid, which is made of material containing quartz, then when this electromagnetic impulse will be reflected from the wall of the pyramid, but I think you know that our thoughts, this mental activity, it's a weak electromagnetic signals. So if this signal will be reflected from the wall, this signal will be converted, transformed into the range acceptable by human brains and human body, energetical body. So here we face interesting technology that when the energy goes from outer space, goes into pyramids, and then the shape of pyramid reflect thousands of times this energy from the walls, which contain quartz. This energy is transformed into the range acceptable by your brains. It means it helps your brain to start reading it and understand it. This is the reason why they used quartz.
And it's interesting, the shapes really interest me too. That's a great explanation, and I'm very interested in the science. And I know some of the listeners will as well. The world of Platonic shapes and, the pyramid really interests.
By the way, Platonic shapes, it's exactly what I told you just a minute before. Platonic shapes is giving you idea about most important minerals which have this type of crystal lattice.
Exactly. That's right where I was synchronizing with you right now.
Exactly. Because even for the wants of horse, we are using quartz. Why? In Platonic bodies, this is actually has connection with the quartz and with water, synchronized with the water. Then in another type, we have special type of coal and magnetite. It's a natural uncombined iron. But what is the form of the crystal lattice of coal and uncombined iron? Cubic. And we see in Platonic form, this crystal lattice, it's patterns. I call it patterns, sure. Platonic patterns. And he shows, first of all, if you want to find the right minerals, the right materials to help your body to get in synchronization with the planet Earth, use this type of materials having this particular crystal lattice.
So that would be triangles and cubes.
Not only, because if you remember, we have 5 Platonic bodies.
Okay.
5.
Gotcha. Okay. The pyramid, the triangle, that is a very important one. We see, of course, we see it in Freemasonry. You see the pyramid, right? You see it here in America. We have it on the dollar bill. It's really big in the Western European, even in Russia. We see that. We see it in France. And then when we go over to the East, in the Islamic world, it's the cube. We don't need to get into the religious part of it, but it kind of really interests me that those are big in our society. And then if we look at how we're driven,
Platonic
sure.
bodies again.
So,
but pyramids, it's a funnel. First of all, funnel, because if the energy from the planet Earth goes into the pyramid, okay, it is many times reflected and then concentrated. This is the reason why I told you from the beginning, important is concentration of the energy. Not just, for sure, do you have, for example, in your room, kind of a natural energy or not? For sure, it's important. But most important is the concentration. And pyramid is the concentrator of the energy, plus generator because of the quartz.
Sure. And the planets play a part in that as well.
Yes. Planet is the source of energy, actually.
As above, so below.
Yeah, because in our life, in the life of any human being, there are two main sources of energy. Two. First of all, this is the human being as he or she is inside of you. And the other, planet Earth, the core of the planet Earth.
And when you say the human being, that interests me. And one of the big questions some of us ask, and many philosophers, is who are we? What are we? What is consciousness? Okay, and I want to give you just kind of a quick little rundown. This is about you and your great work, but I want to include my philosophy a little bit as well. Mm-hmm. Phosphorus plays a big role in this and in who we are in our consciousness. I know that based on the science and the studies. And if we look at the Platonic shape and we look at the symbol for phosphorus, we see, of course, the pyramid. Phosphates and everything, those play a big role. What is your thoughts? Phosphorus in Latin is Lucifer, right? And when we hear these stories of the fallen angel, right? What are your thoughts about phosphorus?
Well, you're coming to critically important aspects. This question is the one actually to whom humanity probably will come up in the future. But what happened with Lucifer is a very interesting story of a human being. Thousands of years ago, but not so long ago, lived on Mars. And actually, the destiny of the whole solar system, and especially now our civilization, is very closely connected with the destiny of this person whom we call fallen angel. Fallen angel, it means that from the geological point of view, these events took place not so long ago. Not so long ago, just a few thousands of years ago. But he was a man and he was a scientist, very profound, very clever, very clever. You can't imagine. And he was living on Mars. And then, while he was developing himself, and the whole Mars was developing under his influence, under his how to say? No, I wouldn't say control, but on the other hand, yes, it was control. He came to a certain level of existence when he understood that his physical body is limited and he has no any more capacities to do more because physical body has a limitation. And he transferred himself into energetical level of existence. And this is actually what is called in religious texts and Bibles, like he became an angel, like an angel. because he went into the energetical form of life. So his destiny and what happened with him and to Mars, it devotes the few chapters in the book. And even reading some ancient texts, especially Gnostic texts, you have a chance to come to understanding what happened actually. And I will for sure use this text just to bring forward this knowledge. And why? First of all, because what happened on the planet Mars critically influenced planet Earth. And this position where we are now depends on the fact that Lucifer is now not on Mars, he's here on the planet Earth. And one of the reasons of our life, one of the goal, I wouldn't say main goal, but it's very important goal, is to, first of all, realize that he is inside of us. And this is the reason why people experience a lot of negativity inside, especially sometimes we can experience like negative emotions, and we are trying to fight the best of us. Those of us who is clever enough, they came to understanding that something is wrong. We need to suppress this vibration, this negativity. And it will help to neutralize this type of energy in a human being. Pyramid, by the way, helped to do it. That was one of the reason why the pyramids have been built and used. And the other reason, most important reason why we are living in the body is connected with the process of development and self-perfection of the God himself. And in my book, you can find the chapter which is called Knowledge of God, where very, very shortly I'm giving the condensed idea, filtered out from ancient texts, about the God and who he is. Because in many texts you can find idea that God created endless number of his own projections, and he's looking on this world through the eyes of the people. This is the reason why, for example, in Egypt, they made the eyes of Ra, eyes of Horus. They just painted by very special ways their eyes, just to let people see that, now look at me, the God is looking on you through my eyes. And just watching the world, watching the people, actually in all galaxies, in all dimensions, God is gathering information, and he is, by this very understandable on one hand, but very unusual through physical plane, he's developing himself. I would recommend to read this part in the Wands of Horus book and in the Pyramid book too, because there I'm giving just ancient texts and some interesting pieces of information which makes the idea I'm talking about now much more vivid, much clearer than we can do it now shortly. This is the most important aspect. And the last idea. Actually, this idea is the key in all ancient religions. If you look at them from the beginning, any highly developed civilization can reach this high level of development only in one case: if they learn, and if they try to learn who is the God. what he is actually doing, his ways, these universal ways, because this universe is his creation. So for me, that was a very important discovery. And if you will allow me, I will give you just for 1 minute this very important event, it's a description of this important event in my life. Because at that time when I was investigating UFOs, I had a chance to be in a close encounter, in a very far remote area, and I had a chance to talk. And I asked them about their interest, what actually they're doing here, what is their main goal, their interest. And they explained that in general, people will not understand our interest. But I said, okay, but can you just take into account our level of development? Just say what you want to say. Maybe we will understand. And that person with whom I was talking, he said, we are investigating humanity for one reason. We need to find inside of humanity the seed of God. They explained, we are searching him. We want to find him. And it helps us to develop, to see the technology, the ways. So this is, you see, very unusual idea, very unusual. But for this reason, they came into the contact with a human being, and during direct contact, they are giving maybe hard idea, like, for example, you are living here on the planet Earth and everything doing wrong. You broke our law. And then in the future, when the skies became dark, thousands of people will die because you broke our law. Immediately, any person who hears this reacts. But what they said is not a reality. What they need and what they do, first of all, they make kind of a energetical copy of your matrix. And they need a key to read it, because it's like a password to computer. They need the way of your thinking. How do you react on a hard idea? They take your hologram, they take the way of your thinking, now you are free. And then they take you to their planet, they are reading you, because inside of you there is all information about millions of years before what you have been, where you have been, even if you have been an animal or a plant. And they know they can read your future. And by this way, they are learning who is the God. And this is the main reason for our appearance in the universe. I mean, the human body. God is learning and developing himself through us.
Are these extraterrestrials in charge of this planet?
Sure, because they are here for a long, long time. But they're using our planet, first of all, as the very comfortable place for space communication. On my website, you can find this webpage where I describe the contact with one scientist, a lady, Suraya Gainulina, her name, and she was talking with the representative of a very high civilization, very, very high level of development. And that conversation was very interesting. For me, it's like extraterrestrial Bible, cosmic Bible. And because there he said a lot of very important ideas about their understanding. How do they see us? How do they see actually universe? And he explained that the planet Earth is a very comfortable place for space communication. But he said the level of development of our consciousness, and especially not spirituality, morality is too low. And this is the reason he explained. This is the reason why we do not show up as, like openly. This is the reason why they are still close to us.
Why does it seem like humans, we always devolve into immorality? You see that in the old history, in the Bible, and the stories of, Sodom and Gomorrah. And it seems like we're duplicating that now here, especially, in the United States.
First of all, I tell you that Sodom and Gomorrah, the real story, is different to what you know from Bible. It's quite different. So I do not, in my work, I do not use this example because it's not correct example. The reason why we are behaving like this, it's because of Lucifer is in us. He is in us. And this negative emotion, negative action generates a special type of energy which he needs. Actually, any civilization which were and still are under a certain his type of control, they are using this type of energy because this is a very strong energy. It keeps us on one spot. We are not developing. We are killing each other. Thousands of people are killed. But this is energy which they use. And what we actually need to do is to come to realization how it works and start to change something in our life. This is the reason why. It goes and happens like this. This is the way.
So this energy, it seems like we have free will and we have the choice, because I see that in people. You don't have to feed this lower negative energy. And I know people, even such as myself, who I feel a victim of fighting this. I want to go towards the good positive energy, but I'm in business. I'm a small business owner. It's very high stress. I'm in Southern California. My mortgage, rent is very high. You have to make a lot of money. And in this world, it seems like it's a Luciferian type of world. And how does someone survive and raise a family and a business and do a business and still, is it possible to balance these energies?
For sure. First of all, I want to give you a key, because millions of people, they are living inside of this cycle without any possibility to go out of it. But the answer is very simple. We need to change the type of energy we are living in. Just the moment when you change it, everything in your life will be changed. Everything. For example, I can give you one idea. From ancient texts, I came to conclusion that one of the important moment in life of any human being is not only birth date, also is death. It's important to know where you died before. So if you for sure know where you died before, and you will visit this place, the energy and capacities of all your former life will start to manifest itself in your body today. Your life will be immediately changed, as if somebody pumped into you, kind of a God cosmic energy. But at the same time, you should be very careful, because when you start to develop very quickly, you need to take into account the reaction of your surroundings, of the people around you. But this is another aspect of the technology. Now you ask, is it possible? I'm giving you just short, brief idea. It is possible. What you need to do is to change the quality of energy around you. This is the reason why in ancient times, when extraterrestrials have been here, they didn't live among the people. No, they lived in a special areas which they called Tilmun. Tilmun, it's kind of a territory where they built kind of a pyramidal shaped structures. They created special energetical sources, and inside of this territory where they conservated the speed of inner biological time, they lived only there. So first thing which people should understand is that we have a key, we have a choice. But we need for that to change the quality of energy around, because all these buildings you are living in, they are energetically very poor, very poor. You need somehow whether to reconstruct your building, or the best way is to use really working energetical generators, tools like home office pyramid, or you need to build a special pyramid. There are some technologies which you can create and use. Then your life will be changed.
That's interesting. The home office pyramid. I just saw the new craze of the future here. And when you say, it's literally like these are separate cities than what we're living in now. That in order to evolve, we're going to have to create these type of cities, and you're doing that now. Do you care to explain a little bit about that? I know you've done a ton of podcasts where you do explain that, but if you could just explain it briefly.
So first of all, as long as we came to understanding that something should be changed to actually change our life, we decided to build a complex of pyramids in the middle of Siberia, in the middle of Russia, not so far from Tomsk. Today we have built 13 pyramids already. This year, we're gonna complete the work with the energetical system of this pyramid complex. And then we're gonna build the city for 8,000 people. Small city, but this is just the beginning, with schools, kindergartens, business centers. So we're going to create energetically the territory where people will feel themselves quite different, where we can conceive the kids of a quite new capacities. It means that for me, it's a time when we should go just from talking and from writing into or onto the active work. We need to do something, not just to say. So, and this is the reason why we started to build the pyramid in Russia. And I think that in the nearest future, we will start to build pyramids, real ones, not, simple, like empty, pyramid should be constructed from the proper materials. Like in ancient Egypt. Pyramid may not be too big. No, they can be 12, 13 meters, 15 meters high, and at the same time, they can be very powerful. But you need to know proper geometry, proper place, proper materials, minerals, energetical sources, water. If everything done well, you will have amazing, unbelievable result.
And this city it's being built on private land right now. And how does the Russian government feel about it? They're not impeding on anything? They're allowing this?
Well, first of all, yes, this is the private territory. We have bought already almost 600 hectares of land already. And we have only one um, problem with the Russian Orthodox Church. They are sometimes trying to attack, because it's another interesting story. Because if you ask any Orthodox monk, what do you think about the pyramids or pyramids at all, you will never hear any positive, even half of a word about the pyramids. But in my book, I wrote a chapter and I showed and scientifically proved that within the last 500 years, nobody built more pyramids than a Russian Orthodox Church.
Wow, that's interesting.
So here is the question. What's going on? Hey, guys, you are attacking pyramids, but at the same time, you are building them more than anybody else. Why? Because they are giving a very special effects, and they are connecting you directly to the God. But church, if you understand, they want to see themselves between human being and the God and live tax-free. So this is nothing than money and business. But we, like you said, you have a very heavy life, and you devote your life for investigation. You think about your kids, about the future. And at a certain moment, you have to come to a very important decision in your life, that you start to concentrate your attention not on just on the religious aspects, which in our life are important, till a certain moment. But then we should start to do something else. And to take responsibility on ourselves.
I agree. Are you an Orthodox Christian? You're Catholic yourself?
No, it's interesting because in my family, my mother is an Orthodox Christian, but my father is a Muslim. So for me, I understand both sides, what they're talking about. But at the same time, it helps me to see, for example, who was the Jesus Christ, what he was talking about, what he was teaching people. And I tell you, reality is a little bit different to what we know. Again, this is the reason why Orthodox Church doesn't like science. Because if you look at everything in connection with the Orthodox, beliefs from the point of view of science, pure science, honest science, picture will be different.
And I know they've become very powerful there in the last decade. How have they? I know you had mentioned they don't look favorably upon the pyramid work and so forth. What about generally on esotericism and Gnosticism? Is that being slowly persecuted, or are people still allowed to say, I'm Orthodox Christian, but still practice Gnosticism or the occult or esotericism, or look into this fascinating stuff that's just really history, and we're
all depends on how far did you go. Because if you're practicing yourself at home, and if even you are practicing in a group of people, that's okay. Nobody will tell you anything about it or against it until the moment you will be able to influence huge groups of people, thousands of people. Then immediately you will experience attacks from their side, immediately.
Have you been subject to those attacks yourself?
Well, In my business, yes. Personally, I wouldn't say that I have been severely attacked personally, but I know that I'm about to have these problems because I'm working over the book. And this book is going to bring forward the whole truth about Christianity, truth, pure truth. And especially about Jesus Christ, who he was and so on. This is just what I mean, for example. If you would, for example, ask me, okay, Valerie, listen, just briefly tell me, what is the difference between your point of view and actually what we know about Christianity? What's the difference? What's the problem? I tell you, okay, first thing, the whole biblical story took place in France. Not in Israel, not in Palestine. Everything took place in France. Then, Jesus Christ was crucified not in Jerusalem, where we know today he was crucified in a different place. There was another Jerusalem, which is 30 kilometers north from Istanbul. And if you go there, you will find there the cemetery where it's written, Jesus. He was crucified there. And I also read the very old books, 12th century books, which are describing the place where he was crucified. In reality, not in Israel, in Turkey, not so far from Istanbul. And here, there is a question. Listen, why? Why church is fooling people? Because, by the way, in all ancient texts, you can find critically important information, which says, if you want, for example, as long as we're now talking about Jesus Christ, if you want to become a real Christian, if you want to feel him, you need to visit the place where he have been baptized. You need to visit the place where he have been crucified. Then you will go into the very special vortex, very special energy, and you become a bearer of this energy which starts to transform you by a very special way. So, just not to let people experience it, whole biblical story have been removed from France into Israel and Palestine, even we have what we have. But this is actually just a very small preliminary half of the step before very interesting story opens. Unusual interesting story about Jesus Christ and his teaching. His teaching was a little bit different, which opens before humanity a real door into the, consciously controlled reincarnation. Consciously controlled reincarnation. Jesus was talking about consciously controlled reincarnation. Can you find now in the Bible anything about it? No. But if you go into ancient texts, into the Gnostic texts, into the text of the first Christians, you will find it. You will find it. And you will make this very important discovery. And this is the reason why I'm sure that when I will write this book, I will be attacked by Christian church, severely attacked.
And you believe this is why Jesus was originally killed, was
Yes.
for this information?
For sure. And this is the reason why then Christians just canceled even possibility of reincarnation itself They said no incarnation, no. And all books which contained the truth about Jesus Christ, all books contain the truth about his teachings, have been put on fire consciously by those people whom we today call fathers of Christianity. They did it. They have stolen the truth from the people. But Jesus was talking to people, to simple people, if you remember. So this is the trick. Very honest trick.
Do you believe that this information, this knowledge, that it needs to get to the people to save humanity, to save themselves, or else we're on the road to destruction? Or
I tell you one thing: if Jesus Christ would be successful, our civilization would be changed within the following 25 years completely. And what I'd like to point out, that this knowledge is saved, still saved, and you can filter it out only in Christianity, not in Judaism, not in Islam, In Buddhism, it is there also, but it's described by so special language that first of all, I would recommend to start with Christianity, and then you will understand what stands behind Buddhism.
And you're offering your books for free, Valerie, right, on your website?
Yeah, it's for free. You can download it for free and read it for free. No problem.
Awesome. And I want you to address a little bit of your critics. I did some research myself, and I think it's important that you do address it. When I researched it, it just seems like some partners that you had in business that are no longer part of your associates. And, I've been in several businesses. I've had partners. I know how it goes. Usually when you part, it's not usually, oh, we're all great friends now. And you guys had some big projects going together that I'm sure involved millions of dollars. Who knows, as far as American US dollars go. But can you address that a little bit, your critics and, some of the information they're putting out there?
No, mostly those people who are trying to criticize, I was never working with them, mostly, never. These people, they just decided, let's say, they want to make business out of it. For example, selling wands or whatever, but they never learned it. And it's interesting. It's funny because on one hand, you can find a lot of strange words which are, addressed to me from them, but at the same time, they are quoting my books. So, I say, if you think that I'm a bad one, why do you quote my books? But among all these people who is trying to fight with me, there is no anyone, at least one person, who was investigating anything about pyramids or anything about the wands, of course, in their lives, at least 1 week. No, never. They just stole an idea, and if they have their own knowledge, they're trying to say, sorry for this word, just bullshit. But this is humanity. What I can say.
Sure. Yeah. So what you're saying, Valerie, is basically that these people have actually more or less copied your work, and I saw that they're all pretty much in the business of selling some type of wand again, and they have their own websites, a lot of them that are very low key and so forth. But I saw that too. But I want you to know the information that I found wasn't very compelling as far as against you. I saw that it was very weak, and and I wanted you to address it because other people are going to research it, here in the States and elsewhere. So
everything is easy. Just start to read my books, and you will see everything. Nobody in this world was investigating, for example, the wands of Horus more than me. Nobody. If you will find at least one, let me know. I will be very happy about it. But so what to do with the people? It's like this. But from my side, I'd like to warn people, please always keep in mind that any instruments, like ancient pyramids, must be built by people with very positive intentions. This is critically important because these negative vibrations, they will be transmitted to the instruments, to the pyramids, whatever people are touching. This is the critical moment. I'm not against, in principle, that people who are making like copies, do it, but do it in a proper way. But if you read their websites, you see they are talking lie. They are faking the whole story, even about me. So if people are generating this type of energy, what they can bring into the instrument which they produce for humanity, no, nothing good. Nothing good.
Yeah, well, I've always put that akin to, a parasitic type of behavior. So people that lie and that copy and that put people in a false light, it is that dark parasitic energy. So I'm assuming that's what would transfer into it, So I'm a big believer and I'm a big knower of that.
Yes.
And so what would you like to leave the audience with, Valerie? What do you have planned next with your work? What's something maybe that you haven't said on another podcast that you could say here?
First of all, I would be very happy if people would download my books and read it, because it could be a very interesting beginning for us. For sure, we have a possibility to talk about things much more important, much deeper than today, but we need to be on one and the same platform of knowledge. That's why I would be very happy, and I would recommend download it, read it, but not read it just one time. Read it few times. And then I think we will have very, very interesting meetings discussing topics which usually are not discussed.
That'd be great, Valerie. What's the website that people can go to? And it sounds like we're going to have some more podcasts together in the future. Maybe we could do one from St. Petersburg someday.
Yeah. So first, I have a few websites. So if you want me to pronounce it, first one is HTTPS :// it's wandstore.ru, wandstore.ru. And then another site, also HTTPS :// newpyramids.store. And there you can find the books, the Wands of Horus book, the Pyramid books, download it, read it, and then I promise you will find there a lot of interesting information.
Great. It was great talking to you today. Thank you for your time, Valerie. I look forward to talking to you in the future, and take care.
You too. Bye-bye, my friends. Bye-bye, America. Bye. See you soon again.
All right. I'll be in touch, bro. Take care.
Take care.
All right. Bye.